Yes, it's the worst of the worst. Top 10 least favorite and disappointing animes that I've seen this year. Now, why the name disappointing and least favorite, and why not worst? Because I was making this list and I realized I haven't seen a lot of bad animes. I've seen a lot of animes that let me down and I didn't really like them, but that didn't make them bad. They had some redeeming qualities. So I added them to this list and I decided instead of calling them the worst animes I saw, it's more or less just the dissatisfying and disappointing animes that I saw. Now I think the top 3 are the worst animes I saw this year, but on a scale of bad to terrible, I wouldn't say all of them are really bad. Some of them I was more let down and disappointed. They had something going, but they didn't reach that mark. A good example of this is number 10, Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit. Now, if you guys seen my review, you know I found this anime very dull and uninteresting. It just bored me so much. There were some episodes where I was really into it, and then another episode came and I was just like, oh man, it's kind of boring, I really don't care. And it does this back and forth throughout the entire anime. And I actually got into a heated discussion in the comment section about, well, just because you thought it was boring, does that make it a bad anime? Well, it gives you the right to say, it's a bad anime. First off, just remember that most reviewers, most critics, when they review something, they give their personal opinion. And I can also put away my personal opinion and say, yes, the animation was good. Yes, it had some good character development. And yes, the story at some points were intriguing. But even at a point, some of the stories could have been condensed for a more shorter version instead of just, making it more longer than it needs to be. And there are movies like that too where the movie could have been condensed, i.e. The Hobbit could have been condensed, but that doesn't make it a bad film, and that doesn't make this a bad or worse anime of 2012. It just is a disappointing one where it could have been better than it was. It just let me down because it was kind of dull and uninteresting. It had more going for it. Number 9 is Shiki. Now, just like Moribito, this isn't a bad anime. It just let me down and it disappointed me because I found the anime very boring in the first 13 episodes. But yeah, the first 13 episodes were so dull and uninteresting that I couldn't invest myself in the story and in the characters. And speaking of characters, there are so many characters in this anime that the value of a character just diminishes and you really don't give a damn what happens to them. It's kind of like the whole supply and demand. The more supply there is of something, the less demand there is for that supply. But the less supply there is, the more demand there is for that supply. Since there were so many characters, the demand for me to care for these characters just got lower and lower to the point where I didn't really invest myself in their dilemmas and what they were going through. I just didn't care. Number 8 is Black Rock Shooter, yet another anime that just really disappointed me and let me down in the mere execution of the anime. I couldn't get invested in the characters. I really didn't like most of the characters. They were very despicable characters, and the relationships and bonds between characters I felt were a bit rushed and weren't executed properly. That, and I really didn't see the point of this desolate world. Did we really need to have it in this anime? It just felt kind of pointless. Number 7 is more of an OVA than an anime series, but I still consider it an anime, so it's gonna be on this list, and that is Hotarubi no Morii. I just found this OVA very dull, bland, uninteresting, and generic. I've seen animes and OVAs that have been better than this one. I really didn't get into it. I really didn't care much for the characters. Yes, they did have a good bond, but that's really all that this anime had going for it most of the time. Our main character, the girl main character, I really didn't get invested. Hotaru, I really didn't get invested into her, and I really liked more backstory basically, and I didn't get that. So the character just comes off as generic, and the anime just comes off as generic. I mean, OVA comes off as generic. Number 6 is Strike Witches. Now, I've talked about this anime and I've complained about it. A lot of people were like, man, you need to stop complaining. They make a point about why they don't wear pants or why they have the cat ears and the cat tails. Here's the thing. It still serves no point. Just because when they're using magic, they have cat ears and cat tails, what purpose does that serve? What, do they become even more powerful? Why can't they use magic without having the cat ears and cat tail? And let's not forget the fact that they walk around with no pants. I would understand them not wearing pants when they put on the jet shoes, but they walk around, literally walk around with no pants. And to me, that felt like more of a forced fan service than a legitimate reason to the plot. There was no reason besides the fact that it's fan service. Other than that, the anime just wasn't that engaging. The battles weren't that interesting. You really didn't get invested into most of the characters. I like maybe 2 of the characters, and it's just forgettable. Number 5 is Bakemonogatari. Now, I got a lot of dislikes for my opinion of this anime. In fact, I think it's my most disliked anime review, but that's something. But again, this anime is just very dull and uninteresting to me. All the characters ever do is walk, talk, and sit. That's all they ever do in this anime. They have a couple of scenes where they have action, but that action is just ruined by more talking and walking or sitting down. And a lot of people are like, well, there's a lot of play on words. That's what the whole anime is about. It's like a play on words. Here's the thing. I am American. I do not speak Japanese, so I do not understand the play on words. The translation from Japanese to English is not there. I wouldn't understand the play on words because it doesn't translate into English. And yes, you might say, well, what do you got against Japanese? I don't. I would love to learn it, and maybe if I learned it, I probably would get the play on words. But because I don't know Japanese, I didn't get the play on words, in which I really didn't care for all that dialogue-driven scenes. They just weren't engaging and they had no weight. Number 4, and I actually forgot I even watched this anime, Venus vs. Virus. And by me saying how I already forgot that I watched this anime, you know how I feel about this anime. It's really forgettable. I forgot about it the minute I finished it. I remember bits and pieces right now as I think about it, but I don't even remember the main character's name or what the premise was about. I think they were hunting these things called viruses, but this anime is really dull. I really didn't get invested, and the ending is such a spit in your face. It was just like, come on. It's basically the Devil Inside anime of this year. And now we get into the nitty gritty top 3 worst. These are the worst animes I saw this year now. And kicking it off with number 3 is Ori no Imoto. I despise this anime with a passion, and it makes me even more angry as I think about it. The more and more I think about it, the less and less I like it. As I mentioned in my review. Now, there were some aspects that I really enjoyed to a degree, but they just got ruined by the next episode or maybe even the next scene. And the main character of Kirino is a bitch. I hate her. She is such a despicable character. I didn't care. Yes, she's cute. Yes, she's adorable. And yes, she's trying to be an otaku, but also trying to keep this whole image of being a A student kind of model. But her as a person is a despicable character. Really despicable. The way she treats her brothers. The way she treats her friends. All that. She's a terrible character. I don't like her. And she's the reason why I don't like this anime. She brought this anime way down for me. And now, number 2, and this might shock a bunch of people because everyone has heard me rave about this anime and how much I despise and hate every aspect about this anime, but that is School Daze. I know. Shocking, right? A lot of you might have thought that this would have been my number 1, and for a time it was my number 1, but then I thought about it, there was an anime that I did like worse, and we're going to talk about that. But the reason that I didn't put it number 1 is because there are aspects in this anime that I did appreciate after I look back at it, and I also mentioned it in my review. First off, I did like 2 of the characters. I like Kotonoa and I like Setsuna. I like those characters. I like the fact that they tackled on the moral of cheating, and you know how cheating is very prevalent in this world. I liked how they tackled on that. Other than that, I think this anime is shit and I hated it. The main characters are despicable. Sekai, bitch. Makoto, he's a douchebag. All the other characters, they're just terrible people. You just don't like it. You really just... Every time I think about it, it makes me even more aggravated because the characters are the main reasons why this anime was ruined for me. I just found them all despicable and unlikable, and this anime was just a pain to watch through because I just saw the deconstruction of these characters, and it just put me in such a hate pocket. That's why I really just talk about how much I hate this anime. Oh, and another reason why it's not number 1 was because of the ending. The ending is perfect. Perfect. Just desserts poetic justice. All the words you can think of. Karma, it's a bitch, and it came in School Daze, and I love the ending. But overall, I absolutely detest this anime, and you should stay away from it at all costs. And now we get to number 1. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what anime could be worse than School Daze, Tony? You've talked so much about how much you hate School Daze in your review and in discussions and in the 12 days of anime. What anime could have beat School Daze? This anime beat School Daze for the mere fact that I was so disinterested that I could not finish the anime. It's the only anime ever to not only get a 0 out of 5 stars for me, but I did not have the heart to continue. I did not have the will to continue watching this anime. And that anime is Princess Tutu. The first 8 episodes, that's how far I got. I got up to episode 8 and I quit. I couldn't handle it anymore. The animation is so dull, and I mean really dull. It's gray. There is no color. Even the color looks very dim in comparison to other animes. I mean, I could finish School Daze. I watched School Daze through and through, and I found some things I liked about it, but there was absolutely nothing that this anime had that kept me engaged to watch. There were 2 characters that I was sort of interested, but the problem is they had 2 minutes in every episode, and then they disappeared. You never see them again until the next episode. Lucy Christian does a really annoying voice for Duck, the main character. And about Duck, fuck Duck. I cared nothing about Duck. I cared nothing about her dilemma. And the big twist about Duck, she's actually a duck. The characters, they're so bland, they're so uninteresting, they're so dull, you don't give a damn about them. They're like Twilight characters, honestly, they really are. The main guy character is basically an Edward Cullen. He's always sulking and sad and just dreary and just doesn't give a damn about nothing and let me do ballet. That's his character. You don't care anything about these characters. The ballet sequences are terrible. It is literally the worst anime I've ever seen. It's so disinteresting, so disengaging, so dull. Nothing in this anime. Nothing. It has nothing. And that's why it is the worst anime I saw this year. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are the most dissatisfying and disappointing animes that I saw in 2012. And let me know in the comments what animes were very disappointing or dissatisfying, or ones that you outright hated in 2012. Comment below and let me know. And stay tuned for my top 10 best and worst female and male anime characters. Until then, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to me, the Black Critic Guy, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I am Tony Watley from the Black Critic Guy, bridging the gap between movies and anime reviews. Till then, peace YouTube.